Dadgummit, we're here. This is Ron Tyler with Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to thank everybody who has joined us here on our broadcast this evening. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it ever so much. God bless you. Folks, we're going to have a great broadcast today. We've got a lot to talk about, a ton of things to talk about. Now, in doing so, we're going to talk about earthquakes worldwide. We're also going to take you from earthquakes worldwide all the way over to the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault. We haven't talked about the New Madrid Fault for a week. In that week's time, a lot has happened. A lot of things have changed. The New Madrid Fault itself has changed. During the past 2 months, we haven't seen much activity on the New Madrid Fault at all. Not at all. Well, guess what? Things have drastically changed. As I said before, I totally believe that we are going to have a New Madrid earthquake, very huge earthquake within the next 2 years. I don't give it much longer than that, but 2 years. I want to make sure everybody realizes what we're in for. Okay? I'm very serious about that. I don't believe we're going to have a earthquake before then, but I do believe it's going to be somewhere within the next 2 years. I want everybody to understand that. It's important. It's vitally important that we understand what's going on. Okay? I'm just saying. We're going to have to understand what's going on and also be prepared to deal with it. Being prepared to deal with it is 180 out from what we normally be seeing in our life. Okay? 180 out. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that? Because we are not accustomed to seeing major damage in our life. It doesn't happen. It doesn't often happen when we see major damage in our life. And with this earthquake, we're going to see that. As I said before, okay, I've said this many times, the Cascadia earthquake, I think, is going to be 5 years from now. No more than 5 years from now. But being what we're seeing here on the New Madrid Fault, increase in seismic activity, and the strength of the quakes that are hitting the New Madrid Fault. I believe the New Madrid Fault is changing, and we may see a major earthquake on the New Madrid Fault within the next 2 years. Everyone here, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed. It's an easy thing to do. Hit the subscription button when you do that. You'll also see right next to it a little bell icon. Click on that. When you click on that little bell icon, you're going to get a drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Second, hit the like button. Hit that thumbs up button. That lets you know that, lets YouTube know that you guys mean business. That what we have to say here on this channel is vital for everybody to hear. And I believe it is. Please click on that thumbs up button and let YouTube know through the algorithms that what we have to see here is very important for everybody. That way YouTube will let more people on YouTube know about it. Third, or fourth, you also need to stay here through our entire broadcast. If you're here for 2 minutes, it doesn't do you any good, it doesn't do our channel any good, it doesn't do YouTube any good either. Why? Because you're not getting the full import of what we're talking about. This is important. We talk about emergency preparedness on this channel. We talk about earthquakes, yes. We talk about hurricanes, and yes, hurricane season is coming within the next few months. We talk about all kinds of major storms, and yes, we have a major storm brewing on the west coast, blowing in through the central part of the United States, and by this weekend, it will hit the East Coast. Promise. The southern part of the United States is going to get hit with major severe storms sometime within the next couple days. Major storms. And I'm talking tornadoes included. wind, rain, and tornadoes within the next couple days. The East Coast is going to be hit with that within the next 3 days, by Saturday night into Sunday. Be advised that's going to happen. We talk about storms, we talk about earthquakes, we talk about hurricanes, we talk about tornadoes. We talk about rains, we talk about flooding. We talk about every kind of emergency that you could possibly see. We do that because we want people to know what's going on, what is going to affect them right now and in the future. We need to prepare for that. We talk about emergency preparedness on Fridays. We talk about specific things, including what you're going to do, what you're going to need during a major event in your life. We talk about that. There's a reason. We want you to be prepared to save your life and the life of your family. That's what is vital right now. That is what is vital right now for each and every one of us. I want you to know that. Now, by the end of the program, after we talk about the new Madrid fault, if we still have time, and before the launch of Crew 10 from Kennedy Space Center, SpaceX Crew 10 headed for the International Space Station, I've gotten permission to use the NASA Spaceflight channel and air it publicly here on our channel tonight for the launch of Crew 10 from Kennedy Space Center. So be prepared for that as well. I want you to understand that and enjoy it as well. We have 4 astronauts on board that Dragon spacecraft on the top of the great big huge rocket. Okay? 4 astronauts on top of that. They're headed for the space station. And after the arrival of this spacecraft at the space station, by Saturday, if not Sunday, we're going to see the return of 2 astronauts that have been aboard this space station for 8 months. They were supposed to be returned by Boeing, but the Boeing spacecraft had problems and had to re-enter without those astronauts. And the Biden administration left them stranded on the space station. Everybody's basically aware of it. I'm not talking politics necessarily, but the Biden administration stranded 2 astronauts, 2 Americans aboard the space station. Elon Musk told NASA and told Biden last September that he was ready to launch a rocket right then and there to rescue those astronauts from the space station. And Biden said no. So now they've been stranded until now. Okay? The SpaceX rocket is going to launch this evening at approximately 5 minutes before the hour of 8 p.m. And we're hopefully going to join them at that time, or right before the launch actually happens, so we can see the complete ascent into space. It's going to be exciting. It really is. I know 2 of the astronauts on board, so I want you to get used to that. It's a lot of fun. I've been watching astronauts being flown to the space station since I was a little kid in diapers, sitting in front of the television in my parents' living room. I've been watching it. I'm very familiar with astronauts. I've watched every manned flight to space since the first one happened with the Mercury program. Okay? I've watched it. I know what's going on. Alan Shepard was the first astronaut, and we're still launching astronauts into space right now. We appreciate that. Now, let's talk about earthquakes. Okay? We're here for earthquakes. Let's talk about the new Madrid fault. Okay, I'm going to zoom into this seismogram here. Look at the activity here. This is a complete 380 from what we saw even a week ago. And what we've seen here on the new Madrid fault for the past, I want to say, 2 months. 2 months. 2 months ago, not much happened here on the new Madrid fault. Okay, not much. Look at this today. This is at Little River, Arkansas, just north of Little Rock. Look what's happened. At the beginning of today, the top of this seismogram shows 12 midnight. Look what happened just a few hours later. By 4:30, we already had our first minor earthquake, a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. That happened at 4:34 at 4:34 this morning. After that, we had another earthquake. That earthquake happened just about 6:58 a.m. this morning. That was a 2.0 earthquake. Then we had some tremors, didn't we? What happened after that? We had some more 2.0 earthquakes happen after 7:30 a.m. this morning. 7:36, 7:37 this morning, a 2.0 earthquake, and some 2 minutes later we had another one. Then what happens? 8:30 this morning on this blue line that's almost covered up by the lines after that. On the blue line here, we started having a 3.0 earthquake just after 8:30 this morning. 8:35 this morning, a 3.0 earthquake hit at Little River, Arkansas. This is on the west side of the Mississippi River, the west side of the New Madrid Fault. Okay, look at this. And then look at the other subsequent earthquakes after that. Okay, on the black line that is almost obscured by the green line after that. Look at the 3.0 earthquakes hitting, one after another from 8 a.m. this morning until 8:04 this morning. Then a couple minutes later we had a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then we had more seismic activity in the form of aftershock tremors. Look at all that activity. Then after 8:45 on that green line, 8:45, and then after that, after 9:45 this morning, more 3.0 activity here. This is the center of the New Madrid Fault, everyone. Look what's happening here. And it didn't stop after that. Look at the red line after 10 a.m. The red line after 10 a.m. is 10:15 a.m. That's a lot of activity, isn't it? It absolutely is. Look at that activity. We haven't seen this kind of activity on the fault zone here in a very, very long time. It's ongoing. Then after 10:30 on the blue line here, we had a bunch of tremors. Then after about 10:37 this morning, we had another 2.0 earthquake. Then more tremors. Then about 10:39 a.m. this morning, 2.0, 2.2 earthquake. 10:11 a.m., another 2.0 earthquake. 10:14 a.m. this morning, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes after that. Unreal, guys. Unreal. That's ongoing. This is ongoing. Let me show you this afternoon. Look at this. This is the tremor activity and also minor earthquakes here as well. The seismic activity is continuing. Let's go over here after 2 p.m. here. 2 p.m. is 1400 on the left-hand side. 1400 hours is military time. That's 2 p.m. Let's go over to the far right-hand side here. Now we are at 2:13 p.m. We have a buildup of seismic energy. Tremors again. Tremors just after, I want to say, 2:07 as well, for 3 minutes. Then over here at 2:11, more seismic activity in the way of tremors, and then 2 minutes later we have another 2.3, 2.4 earthquake, and then more tremors all afternoon. The seismic activity has continued here on the New Madrid Fault here at Little River, Arkansas, just north of Little Rock. It's ongoing. Ongoing. Now let's go up to Catfish Pond, Arkansas, on the New Madrid Fault. On the New Madrid Fault. After midnight this morning, Not much happened, did it? Very quiet. Microquakes and tremors. But again, okay, why am I telling you this? Not much activity. I believe that they turned down the seismogram. I'm sorry, not the seismogram. This is a seismogram. What you see right here is a seismogram. Okay? What I'm saying, I'm sorry, right there. Right here is a seismogram here. The seismograph is a machine. They turned down the machine. They turned down the machine. Why do I say that? Because, folks, after 6:55 a.m. this morning, 6:55, we have the first decent-sized tremor. Before that, it was hit and miss. Tiny blips on the seismogram. They turned it down. They turned it down. That blip on the seismogram here at 9:55 this morning probably was a larger quake. Probably was a larger quake. What happened after that? Okay, we come down here to 9 a.m. 9 a.m. on the black line. Again, we have tremors, larger tremors than we had before that. Okay, 9:15, 9:30 on the blue line. On the green line, the tremors even got bigger. The black line at 10 a.m. Okay, they got bigger, didn't they? Then on the final black line at the bottom, 11 a.m., larger tremors. Then at 11:45 a.m. this morning, on the bottom green line, larger tremors there. Okay? So at Catfish Pond, Arkansas, I believe they turned down the seismograph for the first time period. Then this afternoon, look at what happened here. Okay? 12 p.m. on the top black line on the left-hand side. Tremors growing here. Tremors getting larger. The same thing on the red line at 12:15. The same thing on the blue line at 12:30. Same thing at 12:45 on the green line. And you can see what happened the rest of the day. We go down to 2, 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon. On just before that, even at 3:45 on the green line. The tremors get bigger, don't they? Not just tremors, but 2.0 earthquakes here as well. At 3:50 this afternoon, 2.0 earthquakes here. A minute later, less than a minute later, we have more 2.0 earthquakes. Unreal. Unreal. Then we drop down here till 4:57 this afternoon on the blue line. More 2.0 earthquakes here again, but I think we had a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake there. Then we come down here until 4:45 this afternoon on this green line at the bottom. Move along 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 minutes later, 5 minutes later. Okay? This is right before 4:50 this afternoon. More earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes. Then we move over here farther to the right, or further to the right. Okay? Now we are talking about 4:56 p.m. this afternoon. All of a sudden we have 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes. Seismic activity has gotten larger, hasn't it? It absolutely has. Catfish Pond, Arkansas today. Okay? Let's move on. Let's talk about Manila South, Arkansas. Okay? Look what happened earlier today. Nothing. They basically turned the seismograph off. Way down. Way down. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just before 5 a.m. this morning. 11:56 a.m. this morning, we had a tiny blip. A tremor. What looks to be a tremor. Then almost nothing after that. The most activity we got is after 11:15 a.m. this morning. Before that, they turned the seismograph basically off. What happened here? What happened here? Let me enlarge this seismogram so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay? Over here on this green line here. Okay? This is 11:06 this morning. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Okay? 11:51 a.m. this morning. 11:51 a.m. this morning. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Prior to that, on this red line above it, this is where they turned up the seismograph. They turned up the seismograph at approximately, let me enlarge this so I can even see it here. Okay? They turned up the seismograph at approximately 11:25 a.m. this morning. They started turning it up. What happened 2 minutes later? 2 minutes later, we have a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake. 11:26 a.m. this morning. Unreal, huh? Then on this blue line just below it, on the 11:30 line just below it, 11:30 is over on the left-hand side. We start having meaningful tremors and even a 2.0 earthquake just after 11:31 this morning. 2 minutes later, a 2.6 earthquake. 2 minutes after that, another 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. And 2 earthquakes almost back to back, right there. A minute and a half later, another 2.8 earthquake. Then over here, just a minute and a half after that, 11:37 a.m. this morning, multiple 3.0 earthquakes right there. There's at least 6 or 7 3.0 earthquakes right there. And then they continue later over here at approximately 11:41 a.m. this morning on the blue line. Then on the green line below that, okay, the green line over on the left-hand side will be 11:45. We go over 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later, almost 6 minutes later. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes there. 11:50 a.m. this morning. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. Incredible, huh? It certainly is. We haven't seen this kind of activity in at least a month, maybe 2 months. Things have gotten very busy here on the Pneumatic Fault, haven't they? We haven't seen anything yet. Let me show you our next seismogram here. Wait till you see this. Okay? I showed you Manila South this morning. This afternoon it didn't show much. Let's go over to Mark Tree, Arkansas. Usually at Mark Tree, Arkansas, we see a lot of activity, and yes, we still do. But during the past month, Mark Tree, Arkansas activity seismically has gotten very low. Very low. Now it's starting to get larger. We saw 3.0, 4.0 earthquakes happening here at Mark Tree, Arkansas about a month ago. Then things started getting smaller. Things are getting larger now. This is this morning. On this black line at the top again, just after midnight. Tremors developing there. Long duration tremors here for about 6 or 7 minutes. Then on the blue line below that, from 10:30 a.m. this morning until approximately 12:41 a.m. this morning, we had some more tremors here. The largest being a 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 tremor here. Okay? At 1:15 on the red line, again we had another long duration bunch of tremors here. At 1:33 this morning, we started seeing a tremor stream going up here. Tiny tremors at first, 1.1, 1.2 tremors. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have a 2.0, 2.2 earthquake here. And that system continued for about a minute, 60 seconds. Then it got back down to tremors, 1.8, 1.9 tremors. Then it reduced itself over several minutes. Okay? What happened after 2:45 this morning? More tremors and larger 2.0 earthquakes here as well. Then about 5 minutes later, more tremors. Look what's happened here at Martree. We've gone from 3.0, 4.0 earthquakes to tremors here. But the tremors here are larger now. The tremors here are larger. I've seen this developing all week. Okay? It's getting larger here. Over here after 9:15 this morning on the red line here. Okay? More tremors. This is 1.6, 1.7 tremors, and then all of a sudden, within approximately 6 minutes after that, at 9:21 this morning, we have our second 2.0 earthquake here. Martree, Arkansas this morning. Let's look at Martree this afternoon. The same thing here. Okay, long duration tremors for the most part. But after 3:30 this morning, or this afternoon, 3:30 this afternoon, 3:40, we have our 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes happening here for approximately 2.5 minutes. 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes here. Then more long duration tremors after that. Martree, Arkansas. Okay, we've gone from over a month ago when we had small to moderate earthquakes. Now what are we getting? Tremors here, but at least we're getting larger tremors. They either turn down the seismographs or they just barely started getting activity. I believe they just barely started getting activity because all of the seismographs would have had to be turned down. All of them. I don't think that happened. I think the seismic activity has increased. The seismic activity has increased here on the New Madrid Fault. Now I want to go over to Ozark Folk Center this afternoon. This morning nothing much happened here at Ozark Folk Center here in north central Arkansas. Usually we've had 2 or 3 3.0 earthquakes here at Ozark Folk Center, north central Arkansas. This is for about 200 or 300 miles west of the New Madrid Fault. We're having earthquakes here again. Again, for the past month, we haven't had much of anything. Tiny tremors at best. Now we're having full 3.0 earthquakes here. Okay? After 1:03 a.m. this morning. Actually, before that, I'm sorry. Let's go up to the green line before that. Okay? This would be approximately 12:41 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquakes, one after the other here. 3 sets of 3.0 earthquakes, with the largest set lasting about 5 to 7 seconds. Okay? Those 3.0 earthquakes over a time period of 30 seconds had a bunch of small earthquakes. Small earthquakes all bundled up together there. Then we drop down here after 1:03 a.m. this morning. Another set of 3.0 earthquakes. at least 2 3.0 earthquakes back to back. Then about 30 seconds later, we had a 2.3 earthquake after that. Okay? Ozark Folk Center here this afternoon. Now, let's move on to Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas is south of Martree, Arkansas. Look at this. Truman, Arkansas, we've seen nothing more than tiny, tiny tremors during the past few weeks. Now we've gotten to tremors that have gotten larger. Okay? This seismogram started up here at the top with microquakes and 1.0 tremors after 12 a.m. this morning. 12:19 a.m. this morning. That's when the tremors increased here. Okay? We had 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 tremors. Okay? More tremors after that after 1:30 this morning. 1:45 this morning. Another set of long duration tremors. Then more tremors happened after 1:23 a.m. this morning. That continued after 1:30 this morning on this second blue line. Actually, that's 2:30. I'm sorry, 2:30 this morning. 3 a.m. this morning, nothing happened until about 3:14 a.m. this morning. More tremors. Those tremors increased for another 3 minutes after after 3:15. 3:15 to 3:18. Tremor increase. After 4 a.m. you see that set of tremors there. Long duration tremors. Then after 5:15 this morning, more long duration tremors, and you see these tremors increase here. Long duration tremors here at Truman, Arkansas. Let's drop further south over to Tyronza, Arkansas. Tyronza, Arkansas is where we see a marked increase in seismic activity. Look at this. It's not just tremors here. It's not just tremors here. Yes, we see our share of tremors. That's not long duration tremors either. Look at this marked increase here. Dozens and dozens, I can't say dozens. There's at least 24 earthquakes here. Earthquakes and tremors. Okay? Over on the right side here, on the red line here. Now I'm going to increase this so we can see the time element here. Okay? This is 7:15 this morning on the left-hand side. So we go over all the way over here. Now we're talking about 7:23 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake here. Prior to that, after 7:14 this morning, we had a 2.9 earthquake before that. Okay? Then we drop down here after 8:15 on the red line. More 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes, and those lasted over a minute, over 60 seconds. Okay? Minor earthquakes are not felt. 3.0 earthquakes and larger are. Okay? Then we drop down here to 9 a.m. At 9:04 a.m. this morning, 2.9 earthquake. 2.9 earthquake. Then we have tremors and even some minor earthquakes, and I'm talking now after 10, I want to say 10:40, 10:40 this morning, 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. 2 minutes later, another 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. Okay? Then we had more seismic activity after 10:45 on the green line. Then I jumped down here to 11:02 a.m. 11:02 a.m. this morning. another 3.0 earthquake here. More tremor activity, and then at 11:03 a.m. we have another 2.3, 2.5 earthquake this morning. Okay, Tyrons, Arkansas. Again, this is southern Arkansas, just alongside the New Madrid Fault. Right alongside the New Madrid Fault. Wild, huh? Guess what? It's not over. It's far from over. What I'm going to show you now might blow your mind. It might invariably blow your mind. Okay? I want to show you Dell, Arkansas. Dell, Arkansas is to the northeast, or no, excuse me, not northeast, northwest of the New Madrid Fault. Look at this. Dell, Arkansas. Yes, we have had minor earthquakes here in Dell, Arkansas before, but not these earthquakes almost back to back. This morning, these earthquakes happened here this morning. Let me enlarge this and raise it up so you can see it. Okay? These earthquakes happened after 8 a.m. this morning. 8:06 a.m. this morning, 3.0 earthquake, and that lasted about 5 seconds. You can see the thickness here, it lasted about 5 seconds. Then the one in the red after that. Okay? This one happened after 8:40 a.m. this morning. 8:25 this morning. Happened at 8:25 this morning, this red line. Another 3.0 earthquake, and guess what? This one lasted 10 seconds. How would you like a small earthquake to happen and the ground rumbling beneath your feet for 10 seconds? That would jar you. That would make you think. That would make you think. Then we drop down here at 9 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. We move over here to 10 minutes after 9 on the black line here. 9:10 a.m. this morning. We see tremors building up, and then all of a sudden we have another 3.0 earthquake, and again, this earthquake lasted 10 seconds. Then we had a secondary quake. The secondary quake lasted another almost a minute. Almost a minute. The secondary wave lasted almost a minute after the main shock. Incredible, huh? Back-to-back earthquakes. Back-to-back earthquakes within an hour of each other. Each earthquake within 30 minutes of each other, and after that, by the last time the fourth earthquake hit, it was an hour later. Wild, huh? Dell, Arkansas. I didn't expect to see that today. I did not expect to see that today. Dell, Arkansas this afternoon. Look at this one. This is just a little bit different. Just a little bit different. Let's look at this. This earthquake occurred this afternoon. On the black line on the right-hand side. Okay? On the left-hand side it would be 4 p.m. On this right-hand side, this is 4:15, actually 4:14, turning into 4:15. Okay? We have tremor buildup. 1.7, 1.8 tremors at the far right, right before 4:15. Over on the left-hand side, on the right side, on the left side, on the red line. All of a sudden, we have another 3.0 earthquake here. Okay? 5 hours after the first 3.0 earthquakes. 5 hours after the first 3.0 earthquakes, we get another one here. And this one lasts about 15 seconds. Primary waves lasting 15 seconds here. Then you see the secondary wave after that, lasting another 30 seconds, a little over 30 seconds. Tremor activity. Unreal. Dell, Arkansas today we have had 5 3.0 small earthquakes. Today. Go figure. Now, like I said, I didn't believe what I was seeing. I had a hard time believing what I was seeing. Okay? Now, as I've said before, the pneumatic fault goes all the way north to Indiana and Illinois. This is Evansville, this is Evansville, Indiana this morning. Tremor activity. For the past 4 weeks, we've not witnessed any tremor activity at all here in Evansville. Like I said, they either turned the seismographs off or all the way down, or wasn't going to show anything, or there was no activity at all. Now we are seeing tremors reoccurring here in Evansville, Indiana. That's a lot of tremor activity. A lot of tremor activity. This morning after 8 a.m., about 8:06 a.m., it increased to 1.2, 1.4 tremors. Before that and after that, the magnitude of the tremors reduced itself. Okay? Look at that activity. Let's move forward to this afternoon. Evansville, Indiana, this afternoon. Let me bring that up for you. Look at this. Here this afternoon, the tremor activity increased. It was all the time, back to back, top to bottom here. From noon today on the top black line until after 5 a.m. 5 p.m. Actually, it wasn't even that. It was after 4:45 p.m. when I pulled the seismograph. Incredible. Seismic activity has increased here on the pneumatic fault, all the way north to Indiana. All the way north to Indiana. Incredible. Incredible. Let's now go down to Missouri. I want to show you Barker Cemetery, Missouri, this morning. Look at the activity this morning, guys. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened until after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 6, I want to say 6:23 this morning. Nothing happened. Just blips. They either turned the seismograph down or nothing was going on, which I don't believe. Then they turned it up, and all of a sudden we're having earthquakes here at Barker Cemetery. We haven't had one single tremor, not one single tremor here at Barker Cemetery in at least 4 weeks. Prior to that, we're seeing 2.0, 2.5, and even 3.0 small earthquakes here at Barker Cemetery. A year ago, 1 year ago, we would be lucky to see 15 2.0 earthquakes during a 12-hour period here. We would be lucky to see even 10 2.0 earthquakes here a year ago. A month ago, the seismic activity here at Barker Cemetery increased, and increased dramatically for about 4 months. Then they turned it off. I believe they turned it off for at least a month. Now it's reoccurring. Look at it here. Look at it here. Let me increase the size of this so you can see it. Okay? Again, after 6:23 this morning, tremors turned into 2.0 and then 2.5 earthquakes. Then we had more tremor activity. The tremor activity still continued until 7:13 this morning with a 1.6, 1.7 tremor. Then after 7:15, nothing happened here until 7:20 this morning. Now we're having 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. 7:20 this morning. And more tremors after that. Then after 7:30, at 7:07 this morning, 7:07 this morning we have a 3.0 earthquake. Barker Cemetery. 7:37 this morning we have a 3.0 earthquake. Then all heck breaks loose. Literally. 8:06, let me get the time right, 8:05 this morning. 8:05 this morning on the black line. 2.6 earthquake. Actually 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. More tremors after that. Until we get down here to 8:20 this morning on the black line. 3.0 earthquake here. Crazy, huh? 8:30 this morning. Another 3.0 active earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake. After that, we have 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes after that. 3 of them. Then we drop down here to after 9 a.m. 9:04 a.m. we have another 3.0 earthquake here. Then a bunch of tremors. We go over here to the right-hand side. The tremors increase. At 9:13 this morning, another 3.0 earthquake happened. Then more tremors. The tremors increased, continued happening. 9:15 on the red line, tremors continuing. 9:45 we have 2.0 earthquakes. At 9:50 this morning, 9:50 this morning, 9:50 this morning, 2.0 earthquakes again. We drop down here at 10 a.m. this morning. More 3.0 earthquakes there on the left-hand side. 10 a.m. this morning. Those earthquakes started hitting at 9:59 this morning. Continued after 10 a.m. Then more tremors. At 10:02 a.m. this morning, 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes happened for about a full 60 seconds. Then it dwindled down to 1.0, 1.2 tremors. It picks up to be 1.7, 1.8 tremors a minute later. Then it dwindles down for another minute and nothing happens. Tiny 1.0 tremors or even microquakes. Then it picks up again with more tremors. What happens after that? At 10:29 a.m. this morning on the far right-hand side on the red line. All of a sudden it builds up again. 3.0 earthquakes again. We see here at 10:30 on the blue line. 3.0 small earthquakes begin again. It cuts off and drops down to tremor activity until it gets over here at approximately 10:35 this morning. Then we have another set of 3.0 earthquakes that lasts about 10 seconds. Drops off for another 4 minutes, and over here 4 minutes later. Unreal. 10:40 a.m. this morning. More 3.0 earthquake activity. About 6 seconds. Then a minute and a half later we have more continued 3.0 activity for about 10 seconds. Incredible. Look at the other tremor and minor earthquake activity after that this morning. We have never seen this thing happen here at Barker Cemetery. Never. Not like this. Again, we could have 15 to 20 2.0 earthquakes max, tops, all morning long. Last year, we would be lucky to see 5 to 10 2.0 earthquakes. Lucky. Seismic activity has increased here at Barker Cemetery over the last year. It continues. It continues, guys. Let's look at Barker Cemetery this afternoon. Look at that. It continued to increase, didn't it? It increased. Look after 12:01 this afternoon on the top black line here. 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes happen here for about 45 seconds. Then a minute and a half goes by and we have more 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes. A minute later we drop down to 2.0 earthquake. Then we drop down just about 15 minutes later. At approximately 12:22, actually 12, no, it wouldn't be that. It'd be about 12:18 this morning. I'm sorry, this afternoon. 12:18 this afternoon. Another 3.0 earthquake. More activity after 12:30 this afternoon. Just before 12:32 this afternoon. More 3.0 small earthquake activity. Then we have a bunch of tremors after that. We drop down here until after 12:39 this afternoon. We have tremors building up to another 3.0 small earthquake. More tremors happen until approximately 2:30 this afternoon. I'm not sorry, that's not true. This happened in about 3:19 this afternoon. Another 3.0 earthquake. We go further here to the right. Okay? Now we're talking about 3:29 this afternoon. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then we have tremors happen. We have tremors happen. All the way down here until after 3:27 this afternoon on the blue line on the right hand side. Again, we get a 3.0 earthquake here. Before that, we had tremors here on the blue line. More earthquake activity after that. Tremors and 3.0 earthquakes. 4 p.m. 1600 hours, 4 p.m. here on the black line. Okay? That seismic activity began about 4:06 this afternoon and continued until at 4:08, 4:07 actually, we had 3.0 earthquake activity. And again, 4:14 this afternoon on the right-hand side. More 3.0 earthquake activity, and more after that after 4:15 on the red line. Look at that. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. Barker Cemetery. We've never seen this activity here before. On the New Madrid Fault, guys. This is just west of the New Madrid Fault, on the New Madrid Fault. This is insane. Let's look at Guam, Missouri here. Guam, Missouri is also near the New Madrid Fault here. Look at this. Yes, we've seen 3.0 small earthquakes here. Now the largest earthquakes we're seeing are 2.0. 2.0 minor earthquakes. Most of the time we see tremor activity here. Long duration tremor activity. We start to see a 2.0 earthquake happen after 4:45 this morning. We have a 2.0 earthquake activity. Tremors after that. Then we drop down here until 7:16 this morning on the red line there. 2.7, 2.8 activity. After that, 2.7 activity just a minute after that. We have more tremors here, don't we? Then, after 9:18 a.m. this morning, on the red line, you see 2.7 earthquake. Then you see more tremors, even up to 2.0 earthquake. A minute later, another 2.7 earthquake. A minute later, another 2.7 earthquake. Another minute later, 2.7 earthquake. Between the earthquakes, we have tremor activity. More tremor activity after 9:50 a.m. this morning on the green line. Look at all this tremor activity here. And some minor earthquake activity to boot. Go figure. Go figure. Let's look at some more here. I want to show you Marston, Missouri. Then we're going to go to Matthews, Missouri after that. Marston, Missouri this morning. Marston, Missouri this morning is over on the southeast side of Missouri, on the New Madrid Fault, right next to the New Madrid Fault, literally, right next to the river. This is tremor activity. This is tremor activity. We've hardly seen this kind of stuff happen here in Marston, Missouri in the past month. So we're actually seeing tremors here in Marston, Missouri, right alongside the New Madrid Fault. Literally. Literally. Let's look at Marston, Missouri this afternoon. That wasn't it. That was this morning. This was this afternoon. More tremor activity here. Long duration tremor activity here at Marston, Missouri. The center of the New Madrid Fault. The center of the New Madrid Fault here, guys. Let's look at some more here. I want to take you over to Matthews, Missouri now. Matthews, Missouri this morning. Look what we're seeing here. We go down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5:30 this morning here on the blue line. We go over here to 4:34 this morning. The tremors really start. They build up. 2 minutes later, 2.3 earthquake. 2.3 earthquake here. That continues for a short while, and then it drops down to tremors again. Then we drop down here. Let me enlarge the seismogram here so you can see what I'm talking about. We're talking about 8:45 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. On this green line, we move over here. Okay? We have 9:55 a.m. this morning over here on the left side of that buildup. Tremor activity. 2 minutes later, we still have tremor activity. 2.5 minutes later, tremor activity. Just before another minute goes by, we have 2.0 minor earthquake. That continues until we have 2.5, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes until we reach 3.0 earthquake. The 3.0 earthquake continued for nearly 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes here. 3.0 activity started at 8:48 this morning, and it continued until 9:01 this morning. Nearly 3 minutes of small seismic activity. People felt this. People felt this here. Small seismic activity here. And then tremors after that. More tremors after 10:15, and again after 10:30. And then tiny tremors after that. Let's pick this back up here. Let's go to look at this afternoon in Matthews, Missouri. This is what happened this afternoon in Matthews, Missouri here. Again, this is on the west side of the New Madrid Fault. The west side of the New Madrid Fault. We dropped down here just after 1:15 this afternoon. 1:15 is the red line on the left-hand side here. We drop over here to the center of the seismogram. Okay? This would be about 1:20 or 1:19 this afternoon. 3.0 earthquake again. 3.0 earthquake happening for over a minute and a half. Just over a minute and a half. Yes, it dropped down to tremors and then right back up to 3.0 activity. Then a minute and a half later, it drops down to tremors for another 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Sorry, one of my kids trying to get a hold of us. My wife is already taking the call. Then, 2 p.m. this afternoon. The first minute, just tiny tremors. Then it builds up to 1.5. 30 seconds later, it's 2.2. 30 seconds after that, we have our first 2.8 earthquake. Then we have 2.8, 2.9 seismic activity for 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Now, yes, this was 2.9 activity. Nobody felt it. But just another tiny increase, it would have been felt. At 2:30 this afternoon, more tremor activity here. Long duration tremor activity. After 4:58 this afternoon, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes on the green line on the right-hand side. Matthews, Missouri, guys. The New Madrid Fault is moving. The New Madrid Fault is moving, guys. It hasn't stopped. It's going to pick up. Let's move over to Pemiscot Bayou, Missouri. A bayou. just off to the west side of the New Madrid Fault. Tremor activity. This had nothing during the last month. There was absolutely no activity whatsoever the last month. All of a sudden it starts up again. Incredible. Pico says, stay alert, be prepared, may God keep people safe. I agree. At this rate, and I know I don't think it will go skyrocketing to a full-blown shaker causing all kinds of death and destruction for another probably year. After that, all bets are off. But this is a beginning here, again. Now this might occur again, where it drops off, nothing happens for a week or so. But it's coming back. It's coming back. Let's go over here to Portage Open Bay, Missouri here. This morning. Look at this. Tiny, tiny tremors. 1.0 tremors. Tops. Microquakes all over the place. Until 10:33 a.m. this morning. 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes, then a 2.5 after that. Then it drops down to tremors again. At approximately 11:09 this morning, we had a 1.7 tremor. At 11:30, I want to say 11:39, 11:40 this morning, 2.0 activity. 2.0 minor earthquake activity. And this continues for about a minute and a half. This is Portage Open Bay, Missouri. Let's show you this afternoon. Yes, this is tiny, tiny seismic activity. Small seismic activity. It's building up. Look what happens this afternoon. This tiny seismic activity turns into 3.0 earthquake activity. 3.0 small earthquake activity. Incredible. Berlin is saying the astronauts are getting out of the spacecraft. That means they scrubbed the mission. Just a second, let me see this. We're still about 20 minutes away from liftoff. Let's join the NASA spaceflight in progress. Berlin is saying new information. News Nation said it was scrubbed. News Nation's a valuable source of information. News Nation's good. Okay? This is NASA space flight right here. I'm trying to get it up here, as you can see. Yes, we have a scrub here at Kennedy Space Center here. We do have a scrub here. I don't know what went wrong here. We have a scrub here. I'll hopefully find out what happened later on, and I can tell you later on, either tonight or tomorrow, what happened. But there is a scrub at Kennedy Space Center for Crew 10. Just a second, let me try to bring up a picture here. Darn it. Darn, darn, darn. Coy, I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your child.
Florida, or off the coast of the Panhandle, Florida. Mostly because back in the day, when they had both on the East Coast, they will have one in the Gulf and one in the Atlantic side. Now, however, they only have one on the East Coast, so they have set themselves already for a return on the Gulf Coast. So they have that option for Crew 9. I believe starting with Fram 2 later this month, they're going to be launching that.
Yes, I see, Don. It was hydraulics on board the rocket.
March 28th with that Crew Dragon Resilience on Falcon 9. They're going to be going to a polar orbit. When they return, they apparently are going to be the first crew that are going to be using that California recovery off the coast of California on the West Coast. So this mission, Crew 10, many months from now in July, when they come back, they're going to be the first NASA crew mission to return to the West Coast. They're going to be another private mission, Axiom 4. We're still not sure if that's going to be Florida or California splashdown, but they'll have that option for a few more months. There's going to be that overlap between the two options.
And of course, the NSF will bring you all of that information. You can kind of see some work they're doing on the outside of the capsule there. We've had some great photographers out in the field today. They will be hopefully out in the field tomorrow. Max Evans was out with his cameras, ready to track this. Julia Bergeron as well. And Sawyer Rosenstein, I know you guys are all packing up. Sawyer, thank you for being out there. What a beautiful, beautiful night for a rocket launch. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We're supposed to get some great weather tomorrow.
Okay, so apparently we're going to do or try to launch this rocket tomorrow, which will mean it will get to the space station by Friday, and they will possibly still try to return the isolated astronauts off the space station by Sunday or Monday at the latest, if they get this rocket off by tomorrow. A scrub of NASA space flight, SpaceX flight, Crew 10, scrubbed for the day. Apparently there was hydraulic failure on the rocket, and they scrubbed the launch just about 20 minutes from launch time. Okay, that's what happened here today in Florida at Kennedy Space Center. That's unreal. Unreal. Let's go back to the pneumatic fault. I'm almost finished with what we have to tell you here. This is great information though. Like I said, the pneumatic fault is looking like it's going to pop. The pneumatic fault is looking like it's going to pop. Literally. In all aspects of the word. Looks like it's going to pop. Okay? I've told you about this for quite some time. Okay, let's finish this discussion real quick. I told you about what's going on in Missouri. I want to show you a couple more things here. I want to go over to Tennessee real quick. This is the east side of the pneumatic fault. This is Tiptonville, Tennessee. This is the Northwest Federal Correctional Center in Tiptonville, Tennessee. We've had earthquakes here before as well. Not just tremors, but full-blown 2.0, 3.0, and 3.5 small earthquakes here at Tiptonville, Tennessee before. Today, we have tiny tremors. Again, this is more than we've had during the past 3 to 4 weeks. This is more than we've had during the past 3 to 4 weeks. Tiptonville, Tennessee. Now, what I have to show you now is down in southern Louisiana. Let's go down to southern Louisiana. I can't wait to show you this. This is wild. This is wild. Let's look at Pioneer, Louisiana this afternoon. Look at this. Tremor activity. Good-sized tremor activity. We haven't seen this in over 4 to 5 weeks. 4 to 5 weeks down here in southern Louisiana. Let me show you DeRidder, Louisiana as well. DeRidder, Louisiana here, we're seeing larger seismic activity. Look at this. Look at the tremors all day long. All day long. We even get up to 1.5, 1.6 tremors here this morning. Again, we haven't seen this in weeks. Weeks. Let's look at DeRidder, Louisiana this afternoon. Look at this. Again, this is more activity than we've seen in a very long time. Okay? The southern part of the pneumatic fault is moving. Okay? Incredible. Incredible. Let's briefly go over to the U.S. map. Let's go to the USGS map here. Let's take down my banner here and let's take down my smiling face. Let's go over here to the USGS map. Okay? I'm going up here to the northwestern side of Alaska. Okay? Right here. This is in the Baltic Sea, guys. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. Large 5.0 earthquake. This is the second large earthquake that we've had here in the past 2 weeks. This is the second large earthquake we've had here in the past 2 weeks. Incredible, huh? Now, I want to enlarge this and let's go over to northern Russia. They've almost taken this down. Actually, they almost have. Okay? What do you see here? Up here at the very top. This is up near the Arctic Circle. This is up near the Arctic Circle, guys. What do we see here? 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 earthquake here, guys. Right up here. Right there. 2.7 earthquake, guys. .7 earthquake. Up near the North Pole. Up near the North Pole. This is the second earthquake like that we've had here as well. Crazy, huh? It absolutely is. Let's go over here to Indonesia. Actually, let's go over here to the Indian Ocean. Just north of Sumatra here. Okay? This is in the Nicobar Islands, north of Sumatra, Indonesia. This is a 4.8 earthquake. Moderate 4.8 earthquake here. USGS not showing all the earthquakes here in Indonesia. There are 18 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. They're not even showing half of them. Let's go over here to eastern Indonesia here. Southeastern Indonesia here, we have a 5.0 earthquake near Timor-Leste, Indonesia. A large 5.0 earthquake here in Timor-Leste, Indonesia here. Crazy. It's insane. Right here. Right here. This is a 4.6 earthquake here near Tual, Indonesia. 4.6 earthquake here. Right here. Tobelo, Indonesia here. This is northern Indonesia. This is a 4.8 earthquake here. This is 116 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. This earthquake down here, this 5.0 here near Timor-Leste, excuse me, this is 132 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow quake. This one over here near Tual, this is 10 kilometers deep. Very shallow quake. Again, this one here, 4.8 near Tobelo, 116 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow quake. Let's go over here off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Okay? This is 130 kilometers east of Barcelona, Philippines. This is a very large earthquake here. This is a 5.7 very large earthquake. Look where it's located. Right off the Philippine ridge here. Right off the Philippine ridge here. Large 5.7, very large 5.7 earthquake. Nobody felt it. It's on this ridge here. But it's far enough out to sea where nobody felt it. The ocean waters of the Pacific absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. But here, this is very well maybe an aftershock of a 7.4 earthquake that happened here a year and a half ago. A 7.4 earthquake happened here. Actually, it wasn't even a year and a half. It was a year ago. 7.4 earthquake happened here. This may very well be an aftershock of that quake. Okay? Philippines. Good old Philippines. Now, all right, let's try do something here. All right. Let's go over here to the Kuril Islands here, north of Hokkaido, Japan. These islands chain here belongs to Russia, the Kuril Islands. A 4.4 moderate earthquake hit here. Other earthquakes have also occurred here. Let's go over here to the Aleutian Islands. Okay? This one is 78 kilometers southwest of Aveyah, Alaska. A 3.6 earthquake, 33.5 kilometers deep. Again, that earthquake just off the northwest coast of Alaska here, a 5.0 earthquake. This is 56 kilometers west-southwest of Point Hope, Alaska. Off of Point Hope, Alaska. We don't have any earthquakes except down here in southwestern Alaska here. Okay? Over here, just off of King Cove, Alaska. We've had many earthquakes here. In fact, we've had 5.0 earthquakes here near King Cove before. This is a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 earthquake. Not a lot of stuff has happened here. It's quiet here in Alaska for the most part. 1.5, 1.7 tremors all over here. All over here. I think this one here, I'm going to show you here, is a 3.0. That's a 3.0 quake. 3.0 earthquake. Now I'm trying to bring up, there's a set of earthquakes here, right here. This is north of Valdez, Alaska. North of Valdez, Alaska. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. Okay? Right here is another 1.6. Like I said, we have mostly 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 tremors, except this earthquake north of Valdez up here. That was a 3.0. This earthquake further to the south here is a 2.0. This is only 36 kilometers north of Valdez here. The 3.0 here, the small earthquake here, was 43 kilometers north of Valdez, Alaska. And yet USGS has this as southeast of Valdez. What a bunch of crap. It's way north of Valdez. USGS could still not get its directions right. But that's all that's happened here in Alaska. Now, we do have some earthquakes here in central Alaska here. Okay? This is the 1.6 near Rampart, Alaska. Yes, we've had tremors and minor earthquakes there before. Over here. This is Manly Hot Springs, Alaska. 1.2 tremor. This is also 1.3, 29 kilometers south of Manly Hot Springs. Why do they call it Manly Hot Springs? Because, folks, we have a volcano just north there. Volcanic activity causes hot springs beneath the ground. Heats the groundwater, causing hot springs here. Volcanic activity. Let's pull further south here. Okay? Want to go down here to the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone. Okay? This is just west of the triple junction here at the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone. This is a 3.2 earthquake west of Petrolia, California, right near the triple junction, where the San Andreas Fault, the Gorda Escarpment, and the Cascadia subduction zone meets. Okay? A lot of activity here. A lot of activity, mostly in California. USBS is only showing minor activity over in Washington and Oregon. Not showing much of anything. That's because they don't think they have to. They don't believe they have to. Okay? Southern California is a completely different story down here. Okay? A lot of seismic activity happening here. Northern California here. This is Loyola, California here. Loyola, California, just south of San Francisco Bay. 2.0 minor earthquake here. Just up to the north of San Francisco Bay here, this is Alamo, California. Alamo, California. This is on the Hayward Fault. The Hayward Fault here. 1.2 tremor here. Further south on the San Andreas Fault. Down here, the Pinnacles. The Pinnacles. This is an oil and gas producing area of the San Andreas Fault where we have earthquakes here, probably due to fracking operations. Probably due to fracking operations. almost straight northwest here. This is Fremont, California. A 2.3 earthquake here. 2.3 earthquake here. We have seismic activity over near Ridgecrest here. Okay, this is near Ridgecrest, guys. This is Little Lake, California, north of Ridgecrest. 1.3 tremor here. This is Cyril's Valley, just north of Ridgecrest. 1.2 tremor here. Okay? Los Angeles. Darn it. Let's go to LA area. Look what's happening here. Malibu, California. Malibu, California, guys. More seismic activity here. Okay? Right here. 1.0 tremor here, and this is 12 kilometers west-northwest of Malibu. Okay? Over here, a 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 minor earthquake, 9 kilometers southwest of Malibu. It's northwest of Malibu. Malibu's right down here. That's Malibu here. This is northwest of Malibu. Okay? Again, USPS cannot even get their directions correct. 3 seismic signals right there near Malibu, California. They're not showing much of anything here in LA as they ever do. Almost never. Right here, this is Highland Park, Pasadena, California. Highland Park, Pasadena, California right here. This is a 1.5 tremor. They're not showing anything else here in LA at all. That's a travesty. We just got through showing you activity here yesterday. There's tons of activity here. A ton of activity. And the USPS doesn't want to show it. They don't want to show it. For what reason? For what reason don't they want to show it? Inquiring minds want to know, don't we? We absolutely do. We absolutely do. They're not showing anything until we get down here towards San Diego. Not showing hardly anything, are they? This is Palomar Observatory, northeast San Diego County. Palomar Observatory. Actually, it's not letting us get any closer there. This just east-southeast, actually southwest, just southwest of Palomar. You can see the dome of the observatory right there. You can see the dome of the observatory right there. I was hoping to get closer than that. But there's the dome of the observatory right there. Crazy, huh? It absolutely is. Does anybody have any questions for me about anything we talked about tonight? That's a lot of information, isn't it? It certainly is. I was hoping to show you even more, but there's really nothing to show you than this. Nothing here. Any other questions? Cowboy Roy Rogers said something here in chat I think is very applicable. Okay? Please remember this. When you are in a pinch and you have to evacuate, you remember to have more than just one evacuation route. Why? Because, folks, if you're on a highway, for example, and you use that for an evacuation route. What happens? All of a sudden you have a traffic jam, don't you? Or you have the police having a checkpoint, stopping traffic and checking people in their cars, seeing where they're going and why. Use service streets. Use multiple routes on service streets to get you to your evacuation point you want to go to. Your destination, you must have at least 3 destinations you can go to. Why? Why is it important to have 3 destinations? Simple reason is this. One of those destinations you could go to might be too crowded and you can't get in. Have at least 3 destinations you want to go to. That way, if one destination is full up, you can't get into it, you have something else to rely on as a backup. Have 3 different evacuation routes and also 3 destinations you can go to. That way you're playing it safe. That way you're playing it safe. Robin Morris is praying that we're out of town or up high when it happens. I agree. I couldn't more agree. I want you to be safe. I want you to be safe. That's why we've shown you what we've shown you tonight. It's important. It's vitally important for your safety. It's vitally important to your safety. I know there are a lot of people here on our channel that watch this that want to know what's going on the pneumatic fault. I just showed you. There's more and more activity happening on the pneumatic fault, and it's going to get dangerous here forward. Okay? I'm just telling you. It's going to get even more dangerous. Now, if you want to get hold of us, write us a letter, send us a card to 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. You can also write us a letter to our email at rltnspdema@gmail.com. Our email address and our post office box have been scrolling through here off and on all night. And yes, I've used our seismograms and covered up that information most of the night. I'm sorry. But folks, you can also help support this program by sending us a card or letter and send it to our email or send it to our post office box. Again, 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. You can also help support this program by going to our PayPal locations, which we have 2 of them, and our Venmo location, which we have 1, right below this program here, right below the video in the top part of our program description. We have 2 PayPal addresses and we have a Venmo address. You can send us donations there. Now, since we've only had 1 card or letter in the past 4 weeks, we may be shutting down. I'm going to give you a 99% chance we are going to shut down our post office box. We've hardly got anything at all in the past even 2 months. We got a card from our dear friend Laura and John up in Oregon. We got a card containing a debit card, an American Express debit card sent to us. That's what they've been doing at least once a month. And this month they haven't sent us anything so far. They may still. They may still. But folks, we hardly got anything to our post office box, and we cannot keep having that happen. It takes $160 a month to keep that post office box open. It takes support for you to help keep that open. We love your support. We love each one of you. But we cannot afford to keep that open. In the future, like I said, this is the 12th of the month. We're going to close that post office box down on the 20th. So you have about 6 or 7 days to send us something to that post office box. After that, we'll put up our address here. We'll give you our address if you want to send us something. Okay? We rely on our Venmo and our PayPal, especially our PayPal, for you to donate to our program, to keep this program on the air. And yes, it does take money to keep this program on the air. We paid $253 for 1 month of bandwidth to have internet for this program. So we appreciate anything you can do to help us. Okay? Charlene Savan is asking this question. Could carbon capture be a cause for the DeRidder, Louisiana disturbance? It could possibly be, but not likely. Not likely. I don't think it has anything to do with carbon capture. I believe it's totally seismic over there on the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault is getting really dangerous right now. It's building up. It's building up in strength. Cowboy Roy Rogers News and Clues says here, and he's right, YouTube keeps about, he says 30% of super chats. I'm going to update that. It's more like 40 to 45% of your money that you send to me. YouTube keeps. Yes, I do appreciate super chats because you guys have sent us quite a bit of money through super chats in the past. This month so far, we have not gotten but maybe $30 in super chats. No more than $30 in super chats during the past 30 days. $20 of that came yesterday. $20 of that came yesterday. So yes, we do appreciate your support. We really do. But we need more support to keep this program on the air. Okay? I appreciate that. I'm not necessarily, I'm not begging for money, but I'm asking for your help. Carol and I are asking for your help to keep this program on the air. Okay? Now, I think tomorrow morning, if I can get up early enough, I will do a members-only chat. We have like 65 members of the EMA family here on YouTube. So look for me to come on the air tomorrow morning. I will do a members-only program for those of you that are members. Charlene Mile is asking, is there a lava plume under the north-south length of the New Madrid seismic zone? No. No, there's not. Over in Missouri, over in eastern Missouri, or western Missouri, there are two volcanoes over there. There are two volcanoes over in western Missouri, but I don't think they have anything to do with the New Madrid seismic zone at all. The New Madrid seismic zone is locked and loaded. Charlene's asking, curious if it's locked and loaded to go. Yes, it is. It is. I've seen the New Madrid seismic zone move very quickly in the past. Like I said, over the last year, it has grown and grown and grown. The seismic activity has grown and grown and grown. It's moving. Brokefish N is one of my dear friends over here in the chat. He's a mod here in the chat. I want to thank my mods for being here. You guys sacrifice your time, your friendship, and your love for our program, and we greatly appreciate it. He says that's why all his friends use PayPal, a PayPal link for support. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. Sage Pup says, I can't afford to be a member. Can mods be part of tomorrow's special? I'm going to make sure you'll be there tomorrow, Sage Pup. I will make sure you're there tomorrow for a members-only meeting. Sage Pup is one of my dearest friends. He's one of my dearest friends, in fact. Sage Pup is a mod here, and I'm going to see what I can do to make you a member here. I think if I'm not mistaken, I can give one membership away a month, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure you're in our members-only meeting tomorrow. Mods, I think very highly of all of you. I love you all. I love all of our EMA family. Our mods dedicate their lives to this program. Yes, we have mods that can only be here some of the time, and I recognize that, and I greatly appreciate it. But we have a lot of the mods here that are all here all the time, almost all the time. We love having you here. Charlene says, I enjoy learning here, and we love you too. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of you. Now, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a good night. We've answered a few questions. I hope if you have any other questions, you can put them in the comments section directly below this video tonight after we get off the air. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side after we get off the air tomorrow. We'll see you soon. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless.